Good morning. My name is Eaves. I am your intern minister, and I use he, him, and his pronouns. In my first sermon here at Mount Diablo, a sermon about self-love, I briefly talked about my family. However, there was something that I didn't mention about my family in that first sermon because it didn't feel relevant at the time. I didn't say that the family that I was talking about is my adopted family. And as this past Thursday was World Adoption Day and National Adoption Day was just yesterday, I thought I would start today by sharing a bit of my own journey with family. I was born on August 20th, 1985, and my name was Sean Grossler. I was the second son of an impoverished couple barely out of high school who lived in Cincinnati, Ohio. This couple was already struggling with supporting their first child, and they realized that they just couldn't take care of another. Through a friend, they met a married couple who had been trying to have children unsuccessfully for a decade or better. And after some conversations and some lawyers, it was eventually decided and formalized that this other couple, the Eaves family, would adopt the child, that they would adopt me. At 10 months old, I exchanged hands and almost everything changed. I got a new name, Stephen Aaron Eaves, going, of course, by my middle name, Aaron, as my mother intends. I moved a step up the class ladder, moving from working poor to working class. I got a new religion, a sect of Seventh-day Adventism known as the Worldwide Church of God. I got a whole new culture as I moved into a small rural Kentucky town. And I got a new family. But adoption comes with its own struggles. For parents, how and when do you tell your child that they're adopted? For the children, how do we make sense of the fact that we're adopted? And for children that are adopted across race lines, the struggles are even more unique. Of course, there aren't easy answers to any of these questions. For parents, all you can do is your best, just like any other parent. And for those of us that are adopted, we all process it differently, and we can only do our best. Nevertheless, I cannot overestimate the value of adoption. My biological family wasn't in the position to give me the kind of life that they most wanted for me, but my adopted family was. So as someone who has directly benefited from it, I want to say thank you to anyone in here who has been involved in an adoption, whether giving or receiving a child. And I also want to extend myself out to anyone here with adoption in your family, particularly those of you who are adopted like myself. If any of you ever want to talk, I'm here to listen. But of course, being adopted isn't the only way that we gain new family members. In my case, after being adopted, my experience of family changed and grew yet again when I was about 11 years old. My adopted parents had divorced and about a year prior, and my mother remarried. With her new marriage, I had a new stepfather who had children of his own. Again, so much changed. Where once I had only one father figure, I now had two. Where once I had been raised an only child, now I had multiple stepbrothers and sisters. And in terms of culture, my exposure and experience grew yet again as I now lived in an interracial home. With all of these changes, I had not only a new family, but also a new way of understanding myself and my place in the world. These experiences of adoption and stepfamily, experiences that so many of us here have gone through, fundamentally altered the idea of family for me. In that, family is more than just blood. Family is a system of relationships, a system made up of diverse people in groups from various walks of life. Family is everything from the folks who created us, to the folks who raised us, to the folks who are integrated into our family, either through marriage or just a fierce and consistent love. Further, family isn't something that stays the same, but often changes. So family is not only a system of relationships, it is also a series of relationships. And this brings me to the idea of chosen family. Chosen family is a term for those people who have been in our lives for so long or saw us through trials so deep that they have become family. I think almost all of us have these kinds of people in our life, people who are not our family by blood or by legality, but instead by the simple and sometimes mysterious power of love. It is these people, our chosen family, who contribute to our lives in ways very similar to our family of origin, bringing new people, new culture, and new ways of understanding ourselves and our place in the world. However, even though we all have these kinds of people in our lives, there are some for whom chosen family is even more crucial. Because unfortunately, some of us don't have great relationships with our family. For some, a falling out, a toxic family system, abuse, led them to leave their family and to never look back. For others, the lack of relationship is for a different reason. The fact that their family cannot or simply will not hold the fullness of who they are. Sadly, this is often around things that we have little control over, like our gender identity or sexual orientation. For these folks, chosen family is an especially important process and part of our lives. And our chosen family are built in a variety of different places. For some, we find this kind of community at work. For others, it might be at school or a club or some kind of sport. But for many, many others, we find it here at church. Finding and building community is one of the primary reasons that we come to church. And for many of us, it is the reason that we not only come to church, but that we stay at church. It is here within these sacred walls that we dare to do the difficult, to build the kind of families we always dreamed of, raising not only our children, but also ourselves and each other, building something much larger, building a church family. Now, I must admit, probably no surprise to any of you, that family is one of the most difficult things that we will ever do. Whether biological, adopted, or step, whether chosen family or church family, yes, family does come with its own unique struggles. However, I believe that its difficulty is matched only by the degree to which it is also worthwhile, because family is the holy ground where we learn to be in relationship with one another, where we learn how to communicate, where we learn how to give and receive, the place where we form others and are ourselves formed, where we build bonds, test boundaries, and come to know ourselves in ways that we never could have alone. And I think family is, at its best, is something that not only includes, but transcends the bonds of blood, a system of relationships that support us through our life, where we include those diverse people and groups who have made an impact on us, where we allow ourselves to be formed and informed by this beautiful tapestry that is the larger human family. And this is what we seek to do here at Mount Diablo. When we speak of being exuberantly multicultural, we are talking about daring to do the difficult work of family together. We are talking about building relationships, communicating, giving and receiving, and new ways of understanding ourselves and our world. We are talking about a holy work. As I come to a close, I want to invite us all even more fully into this holy work. I invite us to choose the family that we already have, at least the ones that we can today, and love them even more fiercely than ever, because family and justice starts at home. And for the ones that we can't choose today, for whatever reason, let us be gentle to that tender part of ourselves, treating ourselves with the kind of care that we would give to our most beloveds. And as we look out onto our global family, of which we are a part, a global family that is tender, to say the least, let us think of them and their families and how we can cast this circle of community ever wider, making room where once there was none, making one family where once there was two. May it be so.
Spirit, let's sing our closing song in the Teal Book, number 1029. 1029 in the Teal Book, Love Knocks and Waits for Us to Hear.